You're listening to the official podcast for the Games Institute. We are a multidisciplinary research center located at the University of Waterloo, studying all things games and interactive technologies.
One by one, we'll sit down with our researchers to talk about what they're studying and what they're playing. No jargon, no word counts, just the cool stuff.
Hello, and welcome back to the Games Institute podcast. As always, I'm your host, Marisa Benjamin.
And I'm your co-host, Tobin Rossico.
Today, we are sitting with Krystyna Oakman.
Hello.
Krystyna, you are a special guest for the podcast because I believe you are the first undergraduate student that we're having.
Oh, exciting.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. We've made an exception for you because the work you're doing is extremely important to talk about on this podcast because it has to do with everything going on here. So before we dive into that, can you tell the listeners about who you are and how you ended up at the Games Institute?
Yeah, for sure. I'm an undergraduate student at the University of Waterloo. I'm going into my fourth year. I took a class with Neil Randall, the executive director of the Institute.
Famed executive director.
Yes.
Was it Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Neither. It was a writing course.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was a thing.
He teaches a lot.
Yeah, and then talked with him, and he hired me on to work at the Games Institute, and then got pulled into this project for the IMMERSe network. I don't know if you want me to explain anything about that.
Well, there is definitely more going on in your life. What do you study?
Oh, I study English literature and rhetoric.
And where are you going to be studying English literature and rhetoric as of next term?
In England.
Ooh, which university in England?
Liverpool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Are you hesitant to make such a big change? Or are you like super pumped that you get to go to a place like that that's so full of culture?
Well, was excited like 6 months ago and now have lapsed into like terror. I'm kind of oscillating between the two, mostly terror. Yeah.
Well, you'll have a long flight to contemplate your life choices as you go over.
That's true.
Yeah.
6
I think it's definitely Krystyna's MO to come into a situation and approach it very, what's going to happen? And then it ends up being amazing. Like the way that you just described yourself too, because I've been working with you now for 4 months, and you are an incredible graphic designer. You're an excellent writer. You turn around work so quickly, and this is going to sound like one of the stranger compliments I've ever given, but like the way that you take instruction is the best I've ever seen.
Oh.
Like when you listen to people talking about their vision, you just make it come to life in a way that very few people are probably able to do because people don't usually listen to somebody when they're giving instructions. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I had to jump in there a little bit to really, truly introduce you.
Thanks.
But how did you get into graphic design?
I'm in the co-op program. So I had a co-op term at ChemH, and then that's kind of where it's the Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto. And then that's kind of where the graphic design started because it was a graphic design job. Kind of lied my way through the interview and said I knew how to do it, and then I figured it out when I got there. Yeah, so that's where it started. Yeah,
lots of lynda.com videos and YouTube tutorials, and that's how everybody can learn it, so that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. So what have you done since with IMMERSe?
So a lot of that has been, it's like a research communications focused job, but a lot of it is working on the website and designing that and kind of rebuilding the website. And then working on research dissemination, so figuring out the best way to communicate all the research that took place over the network.
Yeah, your job had so many elements folded into it, like the graphic design came in, the writing, the research translation, development. What is it called when you do web development?
There you go.
It's called. I know. Yeah, I'm totally incapable. But yeah, can you explain what IMMERSE is? Because I think now you're positioned to give the best description of what IMMERSE even means.
Yeah, for sure. So IMMERSE was a network that was formed back in 2010 through Neil Randall and Karen Collins, who are two professors at the University of Waterloo. And it was a research syndicate that was kind of a partnership between 6 different institutions across Canada and the US, and then their affiliated research institutes within those universities. And then the research coming out of the network lasted over 9 years, so it's just wrapping up now. And it was really focused on all the different domains of games and game studies and games research, games theory. So talking about human-computer interaction or how gaming affects people psychologically. There's so many different facets to it. So yeah, the research is very nuanced and totally complex and all expansive. Yeah.
We didn't ask you our icebreaker question that we normally
Yeah, we
ask.
just kind of dived right in.
Yeah, I got really excited and I just dove right in because, yeah, I'm a big fan of you. So let's go back to the icebreaker question. What is your earliest childhood memory of gaming?
Of gaming?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. My dad and I used to play Playmobil. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah. So Playmobil is like really customizable action figures. It's like Lego, but not, you don't really build. It's more it's more emphasis on the figures. So there's like male and female figurines, and you can put on like helmets and armor and dresses, and they can hold things. They can ride horses. They can ride dragons, and then it comes with sets of locations and like castles and farms, and most of it's medieval, I think, right?
Yeah.
The majority of it is.
My dad, I was like maybe 5 or 4, but he is really big. He's super nerdy and he's really into Dungeons and Dragons. So we'd roll all these dice. I didn't know that I was playing Dungeons and Dragons at the time, but we'd totally be playing Dungeons and Dragons with Playmobil, which was really fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
How old would you have been? Do you remember?
Like
can you guesstimate?
4. I played that until like I was 8 probably with my dad. Yeah.
Did you find that kind of play has developed into any kind of creativity that you see now, maybe with graphic design, maybe with writing, that you would attribute to the origins of that kind of play?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I guess that kind of Playmobil really lends itself to kind of like a world building kind of aspect of gaming. Yeah, and you're kind of choosing where the story goes and how the narrative is arcing. So I think it definitely lends itself well to practice in writing and constructing narrative and that kind of stuff.
And could be the kernel of your interest in literature.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Are you able to figure out when you decided to go into English? I have a very clear memory of when I did. And it was basically because I was desperate to find something that I liked to switch into when I was in my final year of university. But you've been in English like ever since you started undergrad.
Well, I wasn't always. I actually got accepted into Waterloo for biology.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I realized that I had been doing sciences and maths all my life because it was really hard and challenging, but I wasn't passionate about it. And so then I went into arts and business, and then all my parents are psychologists, so I was really kind of interested by psychology, and then had this switch in like second year where I realized that I've always loved reading, and I've never really realistically thought of it as an avenue that I could go like down, like the study of literature and that kind of stuff. And then that's kind of when it dawned on me that that's like a viable option as well.
I see. I thought that it was since the beginning, but that's really cool because that means you have multidisciplinary interests and a little bit of background in that. Do you find that helped you in this current job where you were looking at multidisciplinary research every day?
Yeah, especially within the domain of psychology, because I have a little bit of a background in that, and that really interests me. And I think that it's definitely, there's so many different facets to game studies and games research that it's useful to have a more of an interdisciplinary background to look at it through different lenses, because there's so many different aspects to it.
Yeah. Let's go back to your first week here. You're thrown into this position where your title is IMMERSe researcher or IMMERSe research assistant, and you are tasked with creating a website for this thing that you don't even know like the basics of. What happened within that first week? What did it feel like for you to come into this environment as an undergraduate student surrounded by graduate students talking about graduate research?
It was pretty daunting, but I think understanding what IMMERSe was kind of the hardest part because it was so abstract to me. It was hard to kind of get grounded in what it was, but then once you start looking at the research, it kind of all starts to come together. So I think like the first couple of weeks was really just like blindly going into the research and reading what people did and looking through photos to see what kind of happened over the course of the network, and getting an understanding that way. And then it got easier from there. Yeah.
Nice. And can you tell us a little bit about your process for developing the website? How did you know how to even start it?
I think a lot of that was kind of initiated through conversations with Neil and Agata and you, just because I wasn't ever a part of the network. So it was really about what other people wanted for the network and how they wanted it to be represented. So kind of figuring out how other people envisioned it and thought about it, and then trying to capture that on paper, like through web design. Yeah.
What are some of the goals or objectives that you are trying to achieve with your design?
I think having it be really intuitive is important. So anybody can go on and they could have no understanding of what IMMERSe is. And then by the end, they'll know what it is. And they'll have an idea of kind of how expansive it was and how important it was for games research. Yeah. And so the idea is kind of that somebody could go into it without any background and come out with that understanding. So that was a big focus for me. Also making it really visually interesting, because I think there's so much information that it would have been easy to make it just all text-based. Mm-hmm. But I really wanted it to have that visual aspect and kind of convey parts of the message of IMMERSe through visuals and through graphics.
Can you think of an example where you opted to go graphically rather than text for something that could be explained better through a graphic?
Yeah, well, for the story of IMMERSe, I thought that would be better represented in an infographic. Mm-hmm. Kind of like it lends itself well to that kind of style of knowledge dissemination, I guess. And there's so much to it. There's so many moving pieces that it is better to kind of have it represented graphically, I think, especially the kind of narrative arc of how it got started and all those conversations with Neil and the other researchers and the different pieces that were involved and having it come together.
That's really cool. I could foresee like the origins of IMMERSe in a comic or something, because you could have it be the merging of the two mediums but still be very engaging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the challenges with talking about games research is it's such an interactive medium. Games, I mean, like that's the most obvious statement, right? But when you go to talk about games research, how do you translate something that's interactive into text? I mean, even now we're struggling a little bit to talk about this graphic design because it's difficult to describe in words what a graphic looks like. Yeah. So then to put games research into a website where everything is text-based just doesn't lend itself as naturally as merging multiple media.
Yeah.
Why is it important to even capture IMMERSe on a website? Like, what does this mean for the games research?
Well, I mean, the other option would be to kind of capture it in a report, but I think having it be as accessible to people as possible, so it's not just like one certain audience that's very academic,
right?
That's going to be reading it. That it's also, high school students or grad students, undergraduate students, people who are professors, people from the funding bodies that helped us create the IMMERSe network. So it's kind of reaching all those audiences. And I think with the website, you're able to better kind of accommodate all those different user groups.
Yeah. Do you foresee that a lot of high school students are going to be able to jump on this website?
I mean, if the path is there for them, I think it'd be hard for them to just kind of wander into it and find it.
Excellent, though, if they could. Because imagine if you could start studying games in high school. Be studying books
playing
in
them
high
enough,
school.
so you might
There's
as well.
Definitely people who would be interested in.
Oh yeah.
It's just finding. Yeah.
Being exposed to all of this games research, do you find that your own gaming life has changed in your time here?
Yeah. I mean, I don't do a ton of gaming in my personal life, but I find like a lot of my friends do, and whenever I come home, my roommates will be playing games and stuff, and I'll be asking them questions about, you know, they'll be playing Halo or something, and then I'll be asking all these questions about the game mechanics, or like why, if they're losing really badly, why do they keep playing again and again? Like, why is that something you come back to all the time?
Right. So you're saying that you're somebody who wasn't necessarily critical of games, but then through osmosis,
yes,
you absorbed that vocabulary.
Yeah.
We have played some games together, though.
Oh, we have, yes.
Yeah.
Lots of board games.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about those and what that experience has been like?
Yeah. I love board games. I've always really loved board games. Yeah. We've been
By the way, for the record, sorry to interrupt you here, but I play board games almost exclusively. I rarely play video games.
Yeah.
And I still self-identify as a gamer.
Okay, so maybe then I definitely am a gamer because I'm hardcore into board games.
Okay, yeah. Talk about that.
Yeah, big into Settlers of Catan.
Nice.
Dominion, Ticket to Ride, all those ones. We've been playing a lot of Werewolf.
So much Werewolf.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get like a Dungeons and Dragons group together.
Well, look no further.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad.
Would you want to play or would you want to DM a game?
I would not want to DM. That seems too much for me. I know that's like big responsibility.
Okay, interesting. I always love hearing people who find it intimidating.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
It's not?
And
it is intimidating. You just aren't intimidating. For the listeners, Tobin just rolled his eyes.
Yeah, it's not intimidating because you've been, like, if you started playing at 4,
yeah,
you know how to construct a story.
Yeah.
I think people find it intimidating because they don't know how to react when players do something that they don't anticipate.
Oh, I see.
That's the best part of DMing.
Unscripted.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. But that's kind of where it becomes fun.
Yeah.
It's when it goes off the map and yeah. Okay. I mean, maybe. I'll have to look into it.
Maybe you could start a group up in Liverpool.
Yeah.
I find it hilarious how we are surrounded by board games all the time, and yet we always go back to playing Werewolf.
Yeah.
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 Maybe
It's
this is our
enticing.
opportunity to unpack that. What is playing Werewolf like for you?
I mean, it's constant battle because I'm always losing, but I always really want to win.
You're not
It's
always
like-
losing.
It's a hard game to figure out a strategy for it. I'm not a good liar, so I have a hard time.
That's
with
why I
that
don't play
game.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I need to practice my lying capacity.
Do you find, so if I'm thrust into a game like that, if Marisa makes me play, what my strategy then is can I throw myself on the tracks so that somebody else can win or that
Definitely.
I cause somebody else to lose? That's basically my goal. Is like, who can I sacrifice myself to so that,
Yeah, if you can't
somebody
win,
wins or loses.
absurd to
just
me.
kind of mess around with things.
because I'm not going to win.
Yeah,
There's no way that I can win. So yeah, that's my
See,
philosophy.
you think that you have an ally in Krystyna, but once again, Krystyna is selling herself a little short here because she's excellent at Werewolf. I remember there was this one play, and it'll stick in my mind all the time, where I was the werewolf,
yes.
and I had you pegged as somebody. Wait, no, what was it? I can't
You were the
remember
werewolf,
situation.
but I robbed you and
Yeah,
became
but
the
you
werewolf.
robbed me and became the werewolf.
But you thought you still were, so you did all the legwork
Yes.
to make yourself win, and then I won at the end.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
at the last second she had won, and I only remember being so like happy and what's a better word for the word that I'm thinking of? Arrogant.
Okay.
Being so arrogant at the end and flipping over my card and then realizing that you had done this swap.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game requires like on the fly strategy, a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, where it's not a fixed thing that you can build towards. With Settlers of Catan, you can establish your strategy at the beginning. A little bit with Ticket to Ride. Dominion, you can definitely
Yeah.
establish a strategy. But with the games that are more like role playing interactive, you have to
shifting, yeah.
you have to switch as things go along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was going to ask a question about Dominion, but I'm trying to format one that's interesting enough. So deck building games are really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Dominion functions almost like Catan, where like the randomness almost doesn't do enough to make it unique each time. Because when I've played Dominion, I think there's only been like twice where I've actually seen a card that's new. But it's really interesting because I find it to be more thrilling than Catan. Because Catan, it's very much like, hey, longest road, or you just buy development cards, and that's like, I don't know. My strategy would change a lot with that. But with Dominion, it's really interesting because if somebody else is like, my favorite thing is using the witch. I just like pack my deck full of witches. So in a situation like that,
for when we play together.
Yeah, do you wish that there was more like detriments in things like Ticket to Ride or Catan that can screw up other opponents, rather than all of you just sprinting towards the most amount of victory points?
Yeah, I feel like there's less avenues to winning for Settlers and Ticket to Ride. Like when I play Ticket to Ride, I don't even talk to anybody. Like the table is totally silent. Everybody's just focusing on themselves.
And you can't trade in that, right?
No, it's very... I think Ticket to Ride is very
luck of the
solitary
shuffle
compared to Settlers. Yeah, that's interesting. That the deck building kind of games definitely give you more like creative license for how you're going to win and how you're going to strategize your win at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. With deck building games, I find that if you do switch your strategy over, then you are behind, because the people who can stick to their strategy even when things start to go a little bit awry for them, they have the advantage. I always play with my partner, and he sticks with his strategy from the very beginning, and I think that I have him every time, because I'll start to take the lead, but then because he had this strategy from the beginning, when we come to tally the points, he just stacks them all up. It's ridiculous. I like games where you have to adapt your strategy in real time to the people who are sitting around you. We've been playing a lot of Captain's Gambit, and that game's perfect for that.
Love Captain's Gambit.
That's AC's game.
Oh, cool. I was going to suggest it'd be really cool for something like Catan, where you're harvesting, so that every season you put in like a time mechanic, and every season, or every twice around the table you roll a dice, and that determines like, okay, sheep are like a famine or something that, right? To like wipe out currencies.
That would totally
something
change
more.
the game.
We could talk to Sid about that, because they do some farming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the thief is interesting, but I played one game of Catan where literally all I did, because I think I was blocked in by other people's roads, so I couldn't expand. And so all I had were wheat, sheep, and stone. So all I did was buy development cards. And I went from one of my friends' like main supplies back and forth the entire game with the thief. And he was really, really upset. But it was really fun because it blocked him almost completely, but I think he still ended up winning somehow, which didn't make sense because people took pity on him and traded. That's another thing I don't like about Catan.
I hate the trading when you know somebody's gonna win and then people are making dumb trades towards the end of the game.
Have you ever played Munchkin?
I haven't, but I've heard of it. I have
so it kind of has a similar problem where you're trying to get to 10 victory points, and as soon as you're at like 7, it's like all the other people against you trying to kill you and stacking everything against you and stuff. And I feel like Catan is the same way. Where as soon as you have like maybe 2 cities and people are kind of aware that you're getting up there, like don't trade, stack the thief, use everything against them. It's stupid.
It stresses me out even hearing you talk about that.
I like it. I still like Catan, but it's almost too easy now. So
do you think that any of the research that you've been reading has impacted the way that you now play board games?
I mean, I'm more cognizant of the mechanics of games and how those are affecting the playing experience. Like how you're talking about like deck building or even like the mechanics of Settler, where the board's always changing and there's the tiles that kind of make up the board. More aware of those things that I kind of took for granted initially and just accepted them as part of the game, that those were like very calculated things that were determined when they were designing the game, and they definitely serve a purpose.
Like you get curious about other mechanics and I find for me, it helps me to explain games, to know the differences between different game elements, so that when I go to explain games to people, teach them the rules, I can say, this is, phase 1, phase 2, here are the mechanics, here are the win conditions, here are the reward systems, all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
See, again, that's why you'd be a good D&D player. If you're fascinated with mechanics, it's all just mechanics. And then storytelling, so.
Gotta get into it.
Start with some podcasts. Listen to some podcasts.
Yeah.
That's what I did to learn how to play, how to tell a story, and then you just dive right in.
I'm going to be playing Dungeons & Dragons online when I'm in England with my dad.
Oh.
As instead of Skyping, we're just going to get headsets and shoot up some orcs and stuff and talk to each other.
I can't believe you didn't self-identify as a gamer before.
Yeah, no, I definitely am.
That's funny. What are some highlights that came out of all of the research that you did for IMMERSe? What are some games that you either came across and then played, or didn't have access to play? What are some interesting things that came out of it?
Ooh. Well, Play the Knave is one that really sticks out to me, because I talked to Gina Bloom as I was doing some of the research or communicating the research. And that's a really cool game because it combines English, which I'm really interested in, and it also combines game theory and pedagogical theory and all that stuff.
What is Play the Knave?
It's a game using Connect, I think. So it's a technology that you would stand in front of the TV or whatever it's projecting onto, and then you become embodied in the character that's on stage in the game performing a scene from Shakespeare, and then it's kind of like a karaoke style Shakespeare game.
That's really interesting. This is the Xbox Connect you're talking about?
Yes, yeah. And so the lyrics are the script will run across the screen, and then you read it out and kind of embody the language and the Shakespearean
text. And then with the Connect, your movements are projected onto the avatar?
Exactly, yeah. And you can do some kinds of, I think, staging where you adjust what your avatar looks like and that kind of stuff.
Right. And that wasn't a Games Institute game. That came out of a different university?
UC Davis.
Davis. Very cool. And were there any other standouts for you?
Yeah. There was one game from the Institute for Quantum Computing, Quantum Cats, which I think I haven't played it, but it looks really cool. It's a very interesting tool for research dissemination, I think.
I have it on my phone, yeah.
Yeah, and making principles in science more accessible for people to learn about by creating it in a gamification. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Angry Birds and
I think I've seen that on the TV.
Yeah, because you can play it on that big smart screen out in the hallway. Yeah, that one's cool.
So you're headed to Liverpool for a master's in, I'm guessing, lit?
Yeah, well, I'm only there for 4 months, so I'm just doing a semester.
A semester abroad.
But yeah, I'm doing some lit classes.
Could you, with your exposure to games and game theory and research and that kind of stuff here, would you see yourself going into something, maybe master's or PhD, with a little bit more games influence in the future? And if so, what are some things that you would want to kind of sit down and research on your own?
I'm definitely interested in digital media, in the kind of intersection of digital media and language or literature and that kind of intersection. I'm also really interested in how the world of publishing and how books are marketed, and how there's totally a rhetoric that's embedded in the covers of books, and how those even
don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, and even books that are written by women authors are usually designated as women's fiction, and they get kind of branded in this way that's very belittling to what is actually in the novel. There can be really serious works that are talking about really broad topics, but because they're written by a woman, they're treated in this way and they're marketed in this way. That's really interesting to me. And I think that'd be an interesting thing to go into publishing and see how that can be subverted and changed.
Yeah, I think you'll also find that there's some interesting parallels between that case that issue and the way that women are represented in games industry. So women developers are pigeonholed in many ways. They're boxed out of the industry in many ways. Publishing all forms is gendered and racialized.
For sure.
I didn't realize it was to that extent, and as far as books goes, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that's important to bring up on the day of Toni Morrison's death. So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find lit interesting and the publishing, there's definitely lots of stuff to look into in the games industry and that kind of stuff. And I mean, I don't know tons about the board game industry, but I feel like the board game industry probably is more of a Wild West because the majority of them are all crowdfunded now.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't have big board game houses.
Okay.
Except for maybe like
Hasbro
and what am I thinking of? Who does Monopoly? Parker Brothers? Does that still exist? Maybe I'm way out of the loop. But like the majority of board games and card games and stuff now are all crowdfunded, and so you would have a bit more freedom. You wouldn't have, like the hegemony over top saying like you can't do this. It's just whoever thinks this is interesting. So that'd be another place you could go to.
That's really cool. Yeah.
If you're interested in social media, right? Because like that's the backbone of crowdfunding is getting out there on social media and building an audience.
Yeah. Rhetoric of design too is really interesting. My mind is spinning because book covers, but also game design and the way that it's marketed, who it's appealing to, and what ethos is it representing. All of that. That I haven't seen a lot of work done in those spaces. That'll be really, really, really cool intersection of basically all of the things that make you, right? That's, knowledge mobilization in many ways. It has to do with graphic design. It has to do with rhetoric and English. Yeah, very cool. I'm designing your future for you. Sorry, you can stop me.
I like it.
So we take a 5% cut.
Right. I want my name on every paper. What kind of knowledge mobilization stuff are you thinking about doing? Or I guess maybe I should rephrase, because that's assuming that you are interested in knowledge mobilization. Would you be interested in doing more knowledge mobilization work in the future?
Yeah, I really liked that. It's kind of about, it's two-tiered in that you have to get an understanding of the research yourself and then kind of think how best to tackle that and how best to disseminate that, how that message is going to get out there. So I definitely like that ability that you get to kind of dive into the research and really get into it and understand it, talk to different researchers, and then strategize different ways of communicating that. So I'd really like to do more stuff like that in the future.
Yeah, it's a really fun middle ground, I think, because that's where I live, is in between researchers and public audiences. And then I take the research and I have to understand it first, and then I have to figure out a way to get it out to more people, more than just me. Yeah, so it's been really fun, like seeing how you've also developed this love and passion for knowledge mobilization too, because that's what I eat, sleep, and breathe.
We had Gustavo Tondello on the podcast, and he runs a blog. And I think that that's something that more just students in general need to do in order to achieve some knowledge mobilization. Like in my undergrad, we were always encouraged to like put your papers on the internet and whatnot. And I feel like with YouTube and podcasting and all that kind of stuff, I feel like there needs to be more of that from students. I mean, we're super busy, so it's probably the last thing that we want to do is, do one more step in our research and publishing and that kind of stuff. But I feel like that's a necessary step. And I feel like you would have the tools to do a really good job with whatever you're doing in the future to have that be done. Just kind of like a DIY kind of thing.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see a blog of Krystyna in Liverpool. I don't think you'll have time for it, though.
Yeah, there's better things to do. All right. Well, do you want to do you want to ask the final kind of mind-breaking question?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes, I do. Unless there's anything else that you want to come up, like if this is your opportunity to complain about your time at the Games Institute.
Oh.
We'll be publishing this after you are in Liverpool.
You're gone.
Yeah, I'm safe. I don't have any complaints as of this moment, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. Well, then maybe you will after this question, because
Yeah.
this is the stumper. If you could get everyone in the world to play one game,
Oh my gosh.
what would it be?
Oh, that's so hard.
For the listeners, her face is really expressing that she does not like this question.
Maybe I will go with kind of what I originally talked about and say Playmobil.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it has a really unique capacity for world building, and you can kind of use it to create any story. So it's kind of something that anybody could come into and tell a story. Stories are kind of what bring everybody together. And yeah, it would be easy to see yourself in that kind of game versus other games where you might not as identify as strongly. Yeah.
Do you think you could update Playmobil to include something in addition to the story? And if so, what would you do with it? What would you do with that established framework of like telling stories through figurines?
What do you mean, sorry?
Well,
Update it?
You could use it in combination with other mechanics and create your own game.
Oh, I think I see what you're saying. Like it's a mechanic of a larger game.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Did you have ideas for that?
I mean, I think you could, make movies.
Oh, I see, like stop motion
Yeah.
kind of movies.
Yeah, they do that with
Yeah.
Lego.
Yeah, they do.
So it'd be the same kind of idea.
Yeah, like Wallace and Gromit kind of stuff. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
That was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck in Liverpool.
Before
Thank
you
you.
leave, we do need to tell everybody how they can access the website that you've built.
Oh, yes. Okay. www.IMMERSe.network.
Oh, that's easy. We
Yeah.
can put that in the show notes for sure.
That one I'll remember.
But yeah, I definitely encourage you to check out this website while you're listening to Krystyna talk, because it is just unbelievable. I'm so impressed with what you were able to do.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.